thank you to the guy on the subway who read my body language. I was on the one train here in New York, just another day of city commuting, but something was off from the moment I stepped onto the platform. A man had been hovering behind me for the entire 6 minutes I stood waiting. He kept calling me baby under his breath. Just loud enough for me to hear, but not so loud that anyone else around us seemed to notice. I'd heard stories and always had a mental plan of how I'd react if I felt threatened. But in that moment, my mind went blank. I held my keys between my fingers, a habit I'd formed in case I needed to protect myself, but it's not like that alone could dissolve my fear. The train arrived, and we both boarded. I found a seat, hoping to create some distance. Unfortunately, he stood over me, grasping the overhead bar in a way that kept him uncomfortably close. My anxiety skyrocketed. I felt this wave of dread coil in my stomach, like I might throw up from the tension. I thought, maybe I should move. So, I did. I got up and drifted toward a cluster of people near the doors, thinking he'd leave me alone. But he followed, keeping pace. Out of nowhere, another guy spoke to me, addressing me like an old friend. "Hey, Lauren, you going to Jeff's dinner party too?" For a second I froze. Who's Lauren? That's not my name. Then it clicked. He was looking right at me, speaking with a deliberate familiarity, like he was saving me from the creeper. I latched onto his cue. Yeah, totally," I managed to say, not sure if my voice was shaking. He followed up. "Perfect timing. We can walk together. Which stop are you getting off at?" I named my stop, still startled, but grateful. He nodded, then pretended to show me a text on his phone. Something about, "Look what Jeff sent me." When he tilted the screen toward me, it was actually the Notes app, and on it he typed, "Are you okay?" I felt this surge of relief. He'd picked up on my discomfort. He was letting me discreetly type back. In that moment, everything about the situation felt surreal. I tapped a quick response explaining that a man had been following me, and I was scared. He nodded understandingly, and I saw him shift his posture, subtly placing himself between me and the guy who'd been harassing me. That random Good Samaritan then said he'd ride with me until I got off. He asked which station I needed, I told him, and he said he'd come along, even though it meant overshooting his own stop at 103rd. The next few minutes felt safer, like a silent standoff had been diffused. The creepy guy soon gave up because my new friend was bigger, clearly confident, and engaged me in conversation. And just like that, the threat disappeared, drifting off at some stop before I did. We reached my station together, and my new hero, Michael, as he introduced himself, insisted on walking me all the way to my friend's apartment building. I couldn't believe his kindness. He was basically sacrificing his own schedule for a total stranger. By the time we got there, I apologized for making him late. He shrugged it off with a casual smile, like it was nothing, saying, "Better late than letting you deal with that creep alone." Then he left, heading back toward the subway to catch a train back up to 103rd. Just like that, he was gone. I felt this overwhelming mix of gratitude and relief. In a city like New York, people often keep to themselves, eyes on their phones or lost in their own worlds. I can't blame them, because everyone's got their own problems. But this one man noticed my silent panic, recognized my body language, and stepped in. I'd always told myself I'd be super assertive if I felt threatened, but the truth is, I froze. I shut down. Without Michael's help, who knows what might have happened. So if you're out there, Michael, thank you. You were like a guardian angel that day, reading my body language without me having to say a word. It might have been a minor detour for you, but it meant the world to me. I hope someday I can pay it forward and help someone else in a similar situation. Until then, I'll just say a silent thank you every time I ride the subway, remembering that decency and awareness still exist in this big, busy city.